I want to go to Germany, I want to study there, but there are so many universities. How am I supposed to choose the right one? I mean, where to go, what to do? I have no idea. There are 380 universities in Germany, offering in total more than 17,000 study programs. How to pick the right one? Which criteria should be used? Is it cost, city, university, language, something else? Let's deal with it. Hi guys, I'm Evgeny Alexeyev, and today we are gonna talk about picking the right university to study in Germany so you don't regret it afterwards. Let's say you're decided to go to Germany to study either bachelor or master program. You're absolutely sure that it's the right way for you to go. By the way, if you're not entirely sure yet, this video will tell you everything about pros and cons of studying in Germany. Of course, I don't know your personal story, whether you have ever been to Germany at all, whether you have visited any universities here, whether you have any connections, or maybe you're even living here. So I'm gonna consider a few different options as well as tell you my own story. Let's say you have never been to Germany, you don't have any connections whatsoever. What to do, where to go? Well, one way is to just go to the rankings of the best universities in Germany, find out which is the best one, and just apply to it. End of the story. No, of course not. Like, never do it. I mean, never base your entire choice of the university you want to study in solely based on overall rankings. It doesn't really prove anything. It doesn't mean that you're gonna be happy studying there or that you're gonna find a dream job afterwards. Your main goal should not be to find the right university, but to find the right study program which suits your preferences as well as your goals best. So to do that, you can go to DAAD website, which stands for German Academic Exchange Service, go to study programs and search the one you're interested in. Let's say I want to study international business. I type it in here, apply some filters like making sure that it's master's degree. Let's say that the language of study is English and that there are no tuition fees. You can see here a lot of options. Now we can click on it and know more about it. Only now you can look at the university, at the city where it's located, but the study program should always be the first thing. At least that is what I would do. As for the city, it's up to your personal preferences. I, for example, came to a conclusion that I don't really like living in big cities like Munich. Why? Well, it's expensive, noisy, expensive, it's hard to find a room to live, it's expensive, I mean, you spend a lot of time and energy for transportation, and by the way, I forgot to mention, it's really expensive. Anyway, back to our topic. If it's possible for you, I really recommend you to visit Germany at least once before you decide to go here for your studies. I mean, it's better to see it once with your own eyes than to hear 1,000 of stories. You get some gut feeling in terms of whether it's appropriate for you or not. People are incredible in terms of feeling the right instincts. You hear the language people speak in a natural environment, you meet the culture, you get some understanding of what a real life in Germany looks like. Yes, it's just a first impression, but I would think it's very helpful, and even better if you can go to the university that you're interested in, talk to people there, tell them your story, ask your questions about your desired program. The good thing here is that there are always people ready to help you. Firstly, visited Germany in 2017, just traveling and visiting my friends, and I was amazed by how clean, quiet and organized everything was. I mean, I have to mention that it was a pretty small town. Then I started to go to Germany pretty often to take part in the chess competitions. I started to play in a Nuremberg chess club, and I have met a lot of people there, I have spoken a lot, and that improved my German to a great extent. The more I got to know the city, the more I realized that I like it and that is a place where I want to go for my master's. So I discovered that there is a big university in the city, namely the Friedrich Alexander University Erlangen-Nuremberg. What kind of study programs are there? I have visited it, I have talked to study advisors, I have asked my questions, and I was convinced that that's the right place for me to study. Even if you don't have a chance to come personally, many German universities hold some online events to help you, to provide you with some valuable information, as well as answer your questions. So don't miss this chance. The most important are, of course, the required documents and the deadlines to apply. Inform yourself as early as possible so you still have time and the chance to get everything done what's necessary. As every university has its own requirements, there might be some differences. Details like whether you should write an academic essay or a motivation letter, or whether there is a minimum level of German, or when the deadline is, might cost you a successful application. So despite it being the favorite habit of all students, don't leave it till the last moment. Continuing my story, when I decided to apply to FAU, I started to research which programs are the most interesting, and I found 3 of them appropriate for me. Namely, the International Business Studies, Economics, and International Information Systems. Back at the time, I studied management in my bachelor's, so my background suited the programs. But it's very important to check it, because sometimes, even though it's pretty flexible in Germany, you're not allowed to apply to a certain program, and sometimes they say you're allowed to apply, but they still have their priorities for a certain background, so definitely take it into account. The first 2 programs I applied to are completely in English, and the third one requires an A2 minimum level of German, and as well as write an academic essay as part of application. As my German level was already higher than A2 back at the time, and the program really seemed promising to me, I decided to apply for it anyways. I have to mention here that I haven't applied to other universities because, well, firstly, I didn't really want to go to other cities, and secondly, I considered my chances to get accepted pretty high, as I knew how the system works. By the way, if you want to know more about what determines whether you get accepted to the university or not, feel free to write about it in the comments. I'm gonna make a video about it. Your like would be also a very good indicator for me. I would highly appreciate it. Thank you. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to stay tuned. If you don't have a specific preferences in terms of the city, I would recommend you apply to different universities to increase your chances of getting accepted. I mean, you can always refuse the admission, so you don't really lose anything. Yeah, maybe some additional effort is required, but it definitely pays off. The point is, you don't need to make the final choice when you're applying. Instead, apply to different universities which seem to be promising for you, then see where you get accepted, and then decide. In my case, I was accepted to the economics program after an additional interview with the admission committee. The interview was good. I have convinced them that I'm eager to study, even despite some lack of my statistics knowledge, which was really important to them. But during the interview, I told them my story, and they said that I should really think about it, whether it's the right program, whether it's the appropriate program for me. Because, well, it has a lot of math courses, it's really a lot of theory and, you know, some boring stuff, so to say. And it doesn't really correspond to my personality. So afterwards, I thought about it, and I came to a conclusion that they're right, and that's not the right one for me. And then I got accepted to another program, to International Information Systems, and eventually I went for it, and now I'm really happy studying there. Now, let's say you have been accepted to several universities. Which one should you choose? First of all, take a deeper look at the study programs once again. What are the courses they're offering? What kind of opportunities they're offering? What it says in their career profile? Find some reviews of the graduates and read it carefully. What resonates more with you? Also, take a look at the cities. Is it big or small? Is it expensive or cheap? Is it difficult to find a place to live? Nuremberg is ideal for me, as I considered it to be very balanced. It's not too big, so I can get pretty much everywhere pretty fast and most of the time with my bicycle, but at the same time it's not too small, so it has an airport with good connections. It has enough fascinating places to go and enough interesting events to take part in. As a result, my dream came true, and I wish the same for you. Find out what is the best for you and don't allow any obstacles on the way to stop you. Now, what should you expect from studying in Germany? In this video, I honestly tell you all about pros and cons that I have experienced.